While there are so many different cameras, and it can be very overwhelming to find one that's right for you, the best starter camera might already be in your pocket. Now, there are problems with this, I won't lie. iPhones tend to have a very distinct look to them. And today, I want to talk about the techniques that I use with my iPhone to make it look less like an iPhone. The number one thing that I want to do when I'm filming with my iPhone is to remove all of the processing that Apple does to the footage. To do this, I love to use the Blackmagic Camera App, mainly because it's free and I'm already used to the Blackmagic ecosystem. So it is absolutely a must-have if you are trying to shoot video on your iPhone and you want to take it to that next level. First and foremost, the Blackmagic Camera App allows you to adjust and lock in all of the settings on your camera. This is very important because when your phone is auto-adjusting exposure every 5 seconds, that can be a very big giveaway that you're shooting on an iPhone. Now, when I got my phone, I also got this very specific case because it allows me to use an ND filter with my phone, which is very important for one major thing: shutter speed. Now, in order to properly expose any daytime scene, the iPhone is going to have to adjust the shutter speed because it has a fixed aperture of 1.8 and the lowest ISO still leaves it very overexposed. Now, this is a problem because most movies and TV shows use what's known as the 180-degree shutter rule. This basically means that your shutter speed should be double your frame rate, and this gives accurate and more realistic motion blur, which is what we're used to seeing in movies and TV shows because that's what they use. But with the iPhone, because it has to adjust the shutter speed most of the time in order to get the correct exposure, your motion blur and your footage is gonna look like iPhone footage. So to compensate for that, that's where an ND filter comes into play. As you can see right here, the shot's overexposed, and without changing any of my settings, by just adding this filter, it's now properly exposed. So what the ND filter is doing is lowering the exposure and blocking some of the light coming into the camera, and it allows us to keep the same shutter speed while getting proper exposure. The second thing that I really love about the Blackmagic Camera App is that it allows me to record ProRes internally on my phone. Now, when you film a video on your iPhone, there's going to be a bunch of color, sharpening, processing added to the footage by default. Now, this is fine if you're filming a video of your cat, for instance, but this is not something you want when you're trying to create something that's a little bit more cinematic. When you shoot in ProRes, it gives you footage that is unprocessed, so you are able to add the colors, the sharpening, and give the final touch that you want to the footage. Now, aside from the app, there is one major thing that I also try to do when filming with my iPhone, and this can be applied without the app. This can actually be applied to any phone, I think, but the lens flares that you get, especially on iPhone, are just not great. So if it can be avoided, try to keep lens flares out of your shots because they are not going to look anything like what a professional camera is going to give, and in my opinion, they look really bad. There's also these weird little glares that you get when filming light sources with the iPhone. It's very annoying, and I wish that Apple would fix this at some point. I don't know if they can or if they're just choosing not to, but whatever the reason, please fix this because it is my biggest pet peeve with filming on the iPhone, and in my opinion, if it can be avoided, avoid lens flares in your footage because it is a dead giveaway that your footage was shot on an iPhone. These are all the techniques that I use to specifically get my iPhone footage looking as good as possible, but it's also important to remember that any generic filmmaking tips are going to apply to any camera that you film on. Interesting composition, good lighting, and good story are all going to play factors in whatever you film on whatever you film it on. I hope you found these tips helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.